Shalom Bahashim Yahweh Hakudish Israel. This is the Prime Minister Prince Lan'Diin M.I.N.D Yasha Allah Senior, the mighty Hebrew. I give all praise and honor to Yahweh, the supreme, intelligent, powerful one of our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, who is striving for righteousness' sake. I say into the family, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome, Israel, to the first Mighty Hebrew podcast known as Visions from the Mind. Never. So before we started, listen to the introduction / on my coming album, Mind Mental is Never Destroyed. Let's get it. This right here is known as Back to the Future. Back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Yosef, Lan'Diin, be a divine being, beyond 3D, a humanized me. Before BCE, we exist from now to infinity. Back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. Time travel past threshold, let's go. Miz, we don't play to expand. Labyrinth, pinhead, box there, Tetris, blow, tie sticks. Scanners explode, mental bits into blitz. Dark eclipse from cyclopeans. Shallow hand rock to the cradle. Sacrifice Judah, kiss from the navel. Sign of the time. COVID-9 can't stop. Team shot of universal mind. We adopters, our past restored and lava. On Easter Island, the Bible more holes. Elohim incarnate, Jacob the powers, desperado. Past tense sentences for the future already written. From the profane, it was hidden like a hand unseen. Trying to dose with vaccines. Hebrew war machines, arch degree and infinity, divine being who I be. Prince Lan'Diin, the mighty Hebrew, give you the spark. Those that bark without bite, we all rustle your heart. From the slums of honey palm, back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Lan'Diin, be a divine being, CPI 3D, Illuminati can't stop me, 9 ether, before BCE, we exist from now to infinity, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. HP, I was born, watching storms, down Lehman, and marching uniforms, leaving without form. She closed where was born, dancing in the moonlight, grinning, scene was grim, body tense, front, straight with cosmic swings, bit the wind from Will Smith. In this, I mastered the balance. You got to the Buddha, blowing the blast of medulla, reaching the isolated world out the endless. Stay focused, toasting the host. We from coast to coast, back to the future, back to the future. Who be Elohim, Prince Lan'Diin, be a divine being, CPI 3D. Illuminati can't stop me, 9 ether. CE, we exist from now to infinity, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. Here we come, Tanzania. Yeah. 2021 and beyond. Mind destroyed. Hallelujah. Giving all praise and honor to Yahweh, the supreme. From one of our forefathers. What's going on, Israel? I see you, Lord Cam. Absolutely. So, again, this first podcast called Visions from the Mind, meaning mental is never destroyed. I actually got that from the introduction of my new album coming out, Mind Mental is Never Destroyed, and the songs is known as Visions from the Mind. So I said, damn, I'm a name my podcast is. I see it's a few people, on there. If you can share it all over, social media, excuse me, Facebook, if you got Instagram, whatever. So get some real um, labs over here, professional men and women. It's a repatriation. But I want to deal with tonight's. Tonight's discussion is what I go counter-revolutionary imposters. So before I get started, I want what is known as COINTELPRO papers because I feel as though that's very important to understand those that are counter-revolutionists. So first, we're gonna okay, so I'm done with that. Work with me. This is my podcast. So as we develop on, we will get better. So let me get straight to the point. Okay, so I'm here. So I went and I dug the COINTELPRO papers because what I see today all throughout social media, what's going on right now is there's a form of intelligence within, the nation of Israel and even different black political movements. And you see it all throughout social media. There's this cabal, so to say, to destroy brothers and sisters that's trying to move forward and upward. You have COINTELPRO fronts that you're on social media that act like they with, the repatriation and redemption of our people, but they were not for the best interest of our people. So I just want to read right here. Um, this piece known as the Counterintelligence Program, Black Nationalist Groups, right? So I want to use of the FBI because I feel as though that's very important to understand because when we understand the goals of the FBI, then we can understand how people are moving and operating. These will also be identifiable markers or factors that give us like a bird's eye view to watch, so we'll understand who to deal with and who not to deal with. So let's read the goals. It says for maximum. Okay. Goals for maximum effectiveness of the counterintelligence program and to prevent wasted effects or long range goals being set. So this is, as y'all can see, this is like a real old piece. As y'all can see, it's very, very old. I'm gonna see if I'm doing it right. Okay. So I'm looking at it through my phone. So one of the features within the COINTELPRO papers, which is the counterintelligence program, was to prevent the rise of a black messiah who would electrify the nationalistic aims of black America. And also these tactics that I'm gonna read, these are based on long goal or long range effects, meaning that whatever goals they establish when they established COINTELPRO back in the 60s, really late 50s, starting in 1958. But long term goals, we can see the effects of it today. Watch. Let's read. Prevent the black nationalist groups. So we're reading prevent the coalition. A coalition is a conglomerate of different organizations, people, whatever the case may be. They may come together for common reasons. But one of the things that are said in the COINTELPRO papers is to prevent the coalition of militant black nationalist groups. So when I read that and I see what's going on right now in the Black conscious community, the Hebrew Israelite community, Nation of Gods and Herbs, Nation of Islam, whatever you may have. If you see any type of said revolutionary organization that's online, or people saying how much they love Africa or they love Black people, but if they're showing any type of evidences of preventing the correlation nations or body politics coming together, we tell that that person is working for the feds or that them groups of people, or they unknowingly are feeling the death blow and the effects of the counterintelligence program. Because a lot of us, we can act like agents for this government and not even realize or recognize how damaging we're acting towards one to another. So prevent the coalition of militant Black nationalist groups and unity there is strength. And that's the truth right there. There's always been strength in unity. There's no strength. So right now it's this major attack on the Hebrew Israelites right now. Right now, the Hebrew Israelite movement is the number one so-called Black movement when it comes to growing in massive numbers. Right now, 2021. This movement is all over the world. I'm right now in Tanzania, East Africa. There's Israelites here in East Africa. There's Israelites in West Africa, Northeastern Africa, South Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas, the islands of the sea, whether it's the Pacific Islands, whether if it's the Caribbean islands, we're all over the earth, Australia, you name it. So preventing this correlation and also trying to stop the unification of Black nationalist groups. Now, my objective of developing Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalism was to consolidate camps all over the world, communities. It don't matter who you're involved in the sense of your doctoral difference. National issues was something that we can come together and glue us as a nation. When you see these different social media platform, the whole objective is to destroy the unification because that's what they're trying to do. Like they can say that it's about the information, we're doing this to enlighten our brothers and sisters. No, they're doing it to destroy the Hebrew Israelite nation. That's why they're doing it. And they're using certain, objectives. Like they might say, yeah, we're doing it for information, or we're doing it because of this, or we're doing it because of that. But there's a difference difference in doing something based on academia scholarship versus just trying to obliviate a people and their cultural understandings and beliefs. Okay. So it says prevent the coalition of militant Black nationalist groups and unity there is strength. A truism that is no less valid for all its initiatives. An effective coalition of Black nationalist groups might be the first step towards a real revolution in America, the beginning of a true Black revolution or a Mau Mau. So to say all that is to say they know if we unify on levels like that, see all these different doctrinal differences, they're not afraid of that. They're not afraid of you got this doctrine, I got this doctrine, she got this doctrine. As long as we're separated, they're fine with that. But once we come in the state of unification, by the way, Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalism, now you have a major problem. And it saddens me to see people that say they down for the struggle, they down for the cause, they with that. But they're using, and y'all going to see in these COINTELPRO papers, these counter-revolutionists, counter-revolutionary imposters, they're actually doing this. I don't want to hear nothing about how much academia knowledge you have. And you got people on social media right now that we know, we ain't even got to say anything, but we know that have been in contact with, whether directly or indirectly, with federal agents trying to get other brothers and sisters locked up. There's a lot of things, transpire in the nation. And when I say nation, I don't mean just Hebrew Israelites alone. I'm conscious Hebrew Israelites alone. I'm talking about even those that are not conscious and they might be dealing with another school of thought. But if they so-called Negroes, they Israel anyway. The whole point that I'm saying is when one gets into this mind state that it's okay now to deal with feds, you got a major problem on your hands. Anytime you think it's okay to even deal with these type of people that took down different leaders in our nation, that's openly calling the feds on people, and then y'all still have these type of people on y'all broadcasters. We have to be very careful and very mindful what we're doing and what we're involved in. As Israelites, we have to now totally separate ourselves from these different people and these different platforms. Because when we was just alone and we wasn't dealing with all these philosophies of thought, meaning from other people trying to combative, we were growing like as a strong autonomous force, even though we're today, but it's less autonomy. And that's a major problem within the nation of Israel. And we have to deal with that. But we have to be real watchmen and watchwomen and warn our people. Like, we really got police in our midst. We really have people that don't want to see us come from out of the situation that we in as a nation. A lot of these people that talk about how much they love Africa, how they cherish Africa, they're far away from it. It's cool to talk about Africa or any type of indigenous land mass when you home in your flat, your London, for you in your penthouse in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to actually putting your feet in the soil and in the ground and getting involved for real, then that's a whole nother subject matter. We have to be very mindful that we do have police. Look what happened, the situation with our comrade Ahab, just by him, you know, making a statement or speaking on that, look what has happened. These people will take your words and use them against you. Let's continue on because it's about to get real heavy. 2, prevent the rise of a Messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement. Let's stop right there. Now, out of all the words, why would they use that specific word? Why would they use the word Messiah? So we got to really look at that for what it is. Out of all the words, why did they use that word? Could have been that the astrologers and the astronomers peeped that during the time when the COINTELPRO papers were being put together. Could have been that they knew that that was the time in the season for the rise of a Moshiach. Now, one can go into the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 36, says, I will send you and your king into a strange land, which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you will worship idols, even wood and stone. To say all that is to say that the prognosticators of that verse understood that it would become a time when we would be in the land of the great captivity, and our kings or our anointed, the Moshiach, would come with us. And those that were in power, they understood this. So what did they do? They created the COINTELPRO papers. When it says prevent the rise of a black Messiah. It was really prevent the rise of Yah's judgment coming on these people. You see what I'm saying? So he was trying to move speedily and very, strategic when it came to the death of those they even looked at as anointed. For instance, they said, was it Malcolm, 1965, blew him away. Was it King, 1968, blew him away. Was it Huey? Huey gets murdered in 1988, 1989, a drug deal going back. Okay, it was more behind that. Also, give a shout out, rest in peace, to Tukey Williams, Young Bull, Triple OG, Monster Cody, he just made transition. He passed away. So, much respect to the comrade. He was one that was, he was gangbanging hard over in Cali. He wound up changing his life, and he started helping a lot of different youth, in the streets of California, and even going to other parts of the country and helping. Found out he made transition. So, in completeness to the late Monster. Also, rest in completeness to our elder Prince Kamu Ben Levi Ben Yisrael. We love you. We will never forget what you have brought for us and to us, and we will keep your memory alive. Let's continue on and read. It says, Malcolm X might have been such a messiah. He is the martyr of the movement today. So when this was being imposed, Malcolm X was alive at the time. Remember, Malcolm X didn't get killed or assassinated until 1965. So we have right here in the FBI files how they would deal with us. And remember, it clearly said that these things will have long-term effects. So when you see on social media how these different so-called said black groups act towards each other, even to the point calling the police on each other, they try to sabotage, the movement, any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. You know what I mean? I done heard people say to me, the fuck you go back to Africa for? Basically, fuck Africa. We can stay here in America. But these the brothers and sisters that tell you Africa is the motherland and how much they love Africa and how the world is being fed off of Africans in Africa. Well, if that be the case, why you don't go back and help to take over so the objectives of other people won't be fed besides the people on the continent? It's cool and it sound good when you're on the sideline talking, where it's really getting in the trenches. It sounds good. And this is like, so this will be made clear, this is not a shot at an individual or individuals, but it's at the collective mind within our people that think this type of ignorance. We are very ignorant people, and we act like we know so much, but know very little. That's absolutely true. Because if we knew so much, and if you right and I'm wrong, or I'm wrong, you right, why are the people still suffering and why are the people still in captivity? That's what I want to know. Okay. So now it says Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichaels, and Elijah Muhammad all inspire to this position. Elijah Muhammad is less of a threat because of his age. That's what, see, and you got to really hear what these people are saying, man. They like, okay, Elijah Muhammad is less of a threat because of his age. So what happens is when movements begin, they might not get as much momentum until them people may have proteges or they get like a certain age, and then you can start to see
you know, the body politic expanding. And see, we got to remember with Elijah Muhammad, you know, he started learning, you know, his age was up. He wasn't old, but he was already up there. So by the time Malcolm X and all them came, he was old. And in the mind of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, it was like, shit, what the fuck he gonna do? That's how the mind state of those in power view the elderly. Once they're a certain age, they mean, what is he going to do if we try to come up in there? Nothing, right? Versus a young person. Why do you think they had to get rid of Fred Hampton? And they used that damn sellout coon, Will O'Neill, you know what I'm saying? To do what? Spike his drink, have him take a deep nap, and then when the police came and raided, they blew him away in his sleep. Like, these people are deep, just like the death of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. You know, we know that that was an assassination. And then not to mention the assassination attempts that already took place in the past. Shot up there in Compton. And you had the Bloods and Crips, they came together to protect Dr. Khalid Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? This is how look at Nipsey. Look at everything that's going on. And we know that this is the hand of some people that's dealing with some dark sciences, man. And we sitting up here playing these games, coming at each other neck, on foolery and rhetoric versus groundwork. Foolery and rhetoric. And now our condition worsens in the United States. This is why I tell Shalaki, Shalika, y'all know it's a little late for me, so I'm getting the rhythm of this. But you know, we as a people, we got to recognize and realize what's going on in our communities and even individually, collectively. Because if not, we're going to suffer as a nation. It goes on to say, Stokely, I read that. Yup. King could be a very, very real contender for this position should he abandon his supposed obedience to white liberal doctrines, nonviolence, and embrace black nationalism. Now you got to really hear that. That's why, if you notice, at the end of Martin Luther King's death, at the end before he died, he was carrying weapons on him. He had bodyguards. You know, he was talking to members from different black revolutionary organizations. So he was already in the mindset. And then if you listen to a lot of his speeches, you could clearly see that he had a different view when it came to the deplorable state that our people was in. You know what I mean? And then you gotta look at things also, Israel, how we view now. It was the same thing then. The same sellouts then are the same sellouts now. Nothing has changed. You got your field niggas, you got your house niggas. The same thing. Now they in suits and ties and dashikis. That's just the truth. The truth. Let's continue on. Carl Michaels has the necessary charisma to be a real threat in this way. Three, prevent violence on the part of black nationalist groups. So it's like, take away any type of strength. Y'all lions are, y'all gonna become cubs when we get done with y'all. That's why most of our people, they don't have they don't have that strength to fight. Everybody's like, oh man, they won't fight the so-called white man. They won't fight anybody that's oppressing them. Why? Because remember the long-term or long-range effects COINTELPRO will have on our people. So you can see the effects of COINTELPRO. You can. If you look at how black people are moving and operating, it's as if their feet has been cemented and they can't even move. from out the condition that they in, right? Then it goes on to say, yup, this is of primary importance and is, of course, a goal of our investigation activity. It shall also be a goal for the counterintelligence program. Through counterintelligence, it should be possible to pinpoint potential troublemakers and neutralize them before they exercise their potential for violence. When they say neutralize them, people read, oh, that means stop. No, that means put them to death. When they said to neutralize Fred Hampton, that meant to put him to death. So before it even spread, they already neutralizing your leaders from the rip. See, we gotta understand what was going on. A lot of our brothers and sisters was coming out, mainly brothers, they coming out from Vietnam. A lot of them cats, they were getting drug habits over there with the heroin, the opium, and bring it to the sisters. You know what I'm saying? Podcast here, it'll be a good 5 minutes to an hour. And as I develop, I'm gonna, continue on and expand the time. So getting back into the COINTELPRO papers, um, 4, prevent militant black nationalist groups and leaders from gaining oneness by discrediting them to their separate um, community, separate segments of the community. So what they do is they cause, the younger generation to view the leaders a certain way because it was already put into play. This is how you would view your leaders, not to trust them, that everybody's for a dollar, et cetera, et cetera. So he put this in the minds of the people. And this is how you see them acting today, based on these COINTELPRO papers. You clearly see it. And what does it say? Let me get to it. It clearly says the goal, the goal of, let me see. Okay, discrediting black nationalists must be handled tactically in 3 ways. You must discredit these groups and individuals too. First, the responsible Negro of the community. Second, they must be discredited to the white community, right? They have to be discredited, meaning your sympathizers, within the white community. And then it goes on to talk about how there will be a wedge between the younger generation of revolutionists versus the older generation of revolutionists. So this is what you see today. You see a separation from the youth and the elderly, and I'm talking about within the conscious world of black people. No matter which school, you see facts of COINTELPRO. You see it. This is why the youth today, they don't respect the elders. There's a reason why. This is why people can just come on social media and just go crazy. And it's like, it's nothing. But this is what the COINTELPRO papers are talking about. This is what it's talking about, to prevent the rise of the black messiah who will electrify the nationalistic aims of black America. So when I'm saying to the family and to the people, want to know who counter-revolutionary imposters are, it is those that are upholding these concepts and precepts that you can see out of the COINTELPRO papers. Let's go there. Let me see if there's anything else. Okie dokie. Oh, we got, hold on, y'all. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, mighty Prince.
Oh, oh man, it's good. We got the Crown Prince and Ambassador Prince Yosef Malik ben Asiel ben Yisrael. Shalom, Crown Prince.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings and prosperity to the family.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So how's everything going over there in the States?
You know, it's still hell, but we are the light that's going to continue to be a beacon of hope for the people as we continue to spread truth, disseminate lies, continue to build the mind, the economics, and the family back so that we can turn to our original state and be the premier people on this planet to put everything back in its proper order and context, brother. So we work diligently so that we can be with you, brother, back in paradise.
Oh man, you already here. You already here. We here. We just waiting on you. I see, you know, the wonderful work that you're doing. You and Shot Greer. Give a shout out to Minister Louis Farrakhan. I see all the great work. Could you give us a brief synopsis what you've been doing lately since the last time I talked to you, to the family?
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing that you know is that we are our ability and our people on the print. 40 years ago, brother, almost. Wasn't you go, divine universal brotherhood was too.
You going in and out, Prince. Yeah, you going in and out.
Is this better? Can you hear me better now?
Yup, it's perfect right there. So start over. You was talking about the divine universal brotherhood.
Yes, sir. So initiative that was started almost 40 years to the day by my father, Prince Yosef in Israel, was a divine universal brotherhood. And the reason and the impetus for the divine universal brotherhood was to join minds of original black men, irregardless of creed, religion, or persuasion, on a central point of establishing our God-given right of life, liberty, justice, equity, peace, and prosperity. And so, as his son, as his successor, as his student, as his mentee, I take it as my responsibility, Brother Prince, to re-engage with my generation and the previous generations that noble and righteous cause of uniting people on the premise of truth and justice. And so, to the best of my ability, traveling these United States to join the like minds, regardless of their religious persuasion, their particular political background, or their lot in life, that we can uniform each other in thinking, not necessarily outward appearance, have uniformity in thinking, meaning that we're going to do whatever it takes, brother, to put ourselves in a position of power. We're going to do whatever it takes to reestablish the black family and us in this proper context, making man man again, making woman woman again, and making our children be the future that we know they should be.
Okay.
Removing white supremacy, removing Euro-Gentile ideologies from our thinking, from our doing, from our daily lives, so that we again can be that righteous nation that will consume the whole planet, brother. And so that's what we've been doing, and we've been meeting. We had a privileged and blessed opportunity to meet with our brother Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we got, as things start to come into fruition, but brother, he gave us such a powerful, powerful mission and blessing, and see some mighty and magnificent things happen with the NOI, that's the Nation of Islam and the Nation of Israel, like in the days of old, with Prince Yosef and Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan went up and down the coast of the east and the west and south and the north of America and other parts of the world, spreading this truth together.
Okay, absolutely, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of people, they don't know that connection with Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Shot Greer, our international ambassador and prime minister. Also, there's some pictures. If I see a lot of people on here, if y'all want to see, y'all can go on the Maniel Ben Eleazar's Facebook page, and you can see old pictures from 1978 of the late Dr. Khaled Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with M.I.N.D and even Asiel and others. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Well, brother, again, I'm not going to take too long because I know you're doing a fine and beautiful job in teaching and elevating the consciousness of our people. But I just wanted to call in and give a few words of encouragement to yourself, your beautiful listening audience, and to know that me and you, brother, because I know your heart is sincere. And I, brother, stand with you because irregardless to your past and to other trials and tribulations that have been placed before you, they were put there as a test to make you worthy, not just to the people, but to yourself, to know that you were meant for this position and this responsibility in life. And we can easily criticize people for what we feel they've done or should have done, but is there not room for growth, room for elevation?
Okay.
We still looked at Malcolm as somebody who didn't rise to a greater level of consciousness, according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He would never have a chance to do the things that he had done. Marcus Garvey, all those other great men that we speak about weren't those men at the outset. They had to grow into that position. They had to develop into that position. They made mistakes. We all make mistakes. But we as a people have to be patient and understanding of one another and our growth and to see the sincerity and the longevity of this mission and this work. Nothing happens overnight.
Okay.
A seed doesn't become a tree overnight, brother. And it takes time. And I just want to commend you for your growth and your commitment, because you could have given up a long time ago. You could have sold out a long time ago. You could have jeopardized your integrity a long time ago, but you didn't, brother. And you are able to see the benefit and the blessing of being obedient to truth.
Okay.
And so, brother, I love what you're doing. I love what your wife is doing. May God continue to bless her and your whole family and that beautiful goodness that you have as a daughter, and all of the great family members and extended family members of the house of Prince Lan'Diin, and know that we're going to be victorious, brother.
Okay.
It's
Hallelujah.
already written. Our name's already written in the book of life. We just got to keep on doing what we're doing. So please, to the listening audience, we're not here to bicker. We're not here to fight. We're not here to discredit. We're not here to discourage. We're here to build. If you love your people and you want what's best for your people, whatever your expertise, your knowledge, your experience is, if you're sincere about our growth and our development, let's work together. Let's work in unison. Let's build something that can stand the test of time. Because otherwise, we're going to be perpetual slaves and perpetual servants and perpetual underclassmen. And that's something that we cannot let happen any longer, brother.
Okay.
We got enough
Hallelujah.
examples shown through history, through scripture, about those who passed, and now it's time for us to take that, not be paralyzed by on the truth that we know that is in those words and in the lives of those who precede us. And we have to be responsible for our actions in this day and time, brother. So I thank you, Prince Lan'Diin, for all that you have done and all that you will do in the name of truth. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And give the family my love and blessing, and give the shot girl my love. I love you, brother. We here with Prince Asiel's band, the Crown Prince Yosef Ben Asiel Ben Yisrael. I love you, brother. Call me as soon as you can.
Love you, sir.
Shalom.
Absolutely. Just reach out for me with the live cast, brother.
Okay. Okay. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom alaikum. Wa alaikum shalom.
Oh, we just had live and direct the Crown Prince and Ambassador Prince Yosef Malik Ben Asiel Ben Yisrael. It was definitely an honor to hear his voice. You know, as a matter of fact, here's one of the latest pictures that was just sent, which is a beautiful picture of the most honorable Louis Farrakhan, along with Masaba, grandfather Prince Asiel Ben Yisrael, and the Crown Prince, his son. So y'all can see. Let's see. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there you go. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Still get used to there you go. Nice. Live and direct. So even as the Crown was saying, we have to move with integrity, move with honor. And one of these things that we need to do continuously to watch ourselves or be our brothers and sisters keepers. You if you see your brother, falling by the wayside, you gotta let her out. We have so much hate for another that we just rise. And that coincides with them COINTELPRO papers. Remember, to prevent the rise of a black Messiah, remember, we, the nation of Israel, we are the anointed, the Moshiach of the Most High towards the nations. And then naturally, we will have the anointed within the midst of us. But as the Crown Prince said, we in a season of time that I label the show and prove season. Like it was good at periods of time. Everything has its season. So we was in with what I call blood in my, blood in my. Anybody that know that saying, that's the George Jackson book, Blood in My Eye. When you first learn the truth, you like, you in this rage, you've been lied. The so-called white man is not the original Jew, etc., etc. But as you develop, because you be in that combative debating mode, but as you develop more and more, then you start to take more nationalistic overtones. And this is like sovereign nationalism is an importance to push. And also, I'm so glad that the Crown Prince called them because, unification strength of our leadership in making a better world, that we are going to make sure that each and every individual within the leadership, along with, those around us, proper space, because for many, many years, organizations would rise up. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Adoni. I see you, Brother Robert. Give a shout out to Cam. Give a shout out to my PrincessEitana. Give a Shibu Height for letting me, do this podcast. I see more people, on here. It's now it's starting to grow more and more. The word is spreading. We just had the Crown Prince on here, Prince Yosef. I love what he's doing. He's getting things together for his family to repatriate over here to Tanzania, clearing out some business. Also, I want to give a shout out to Zion Lex. Y'all be seeing me this week. I'll be on Zion Lex's show. They hear slide on this show. So, first things first, he invited me to come on there. So I will be coming on there. Also, give a shout out to Killer Priest. I will be on Killer Priest podcast in the next couple of weeks. I got some things lined up. There's so much going on. Give a shout out to all the students in Prince Asiel International Academy. That's pumping here in Tanzania. Shout out to all the Hebrew Israelites all over East Africa and all over the earth. So just glad that this is popping. Again, this is my first podcast, so y'all definitely got to work with me. So remember what we was talking about. We was talking about the COINTELPRO papers, and within them COINTELPRO papers, it shows how the COINTELPRO papers was used as a vehicle to destroy even the black political movements today. Remember, everything you see is the effect or the residue as to what happened to us as a people. So when we understand the trauma, what I mean, the gross darkness that has, prevailed against our people, then we'll have a deeper understanding as to what's going on. And we will actually stop certain behaviors, because by the elders being cut from the youth, it causes it or it causes youth to have a self-destructive behavior. you will call the police. And I'm not talking about your regular citizenship. I'm talking about conscious-minded people that know that the system is wicked. You know, they would do these things to destroy their people. Also, I want to give a shout out to Move, Long Live John Africa. Y'all see what's going on with that. I will be bringing some updated news on what's going on in Philly, at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as it pertains to, you know, they're deep in my heart because I grew up with a lot of the Move members. Like when you talk about Africa, Chucky Africa, Pan Africa, you know, all them different people. I grew up with their children. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the wickedness that the University of Pennsylvania has done, you know, and that other university, I forgot the name of it. I don't know if it was Princeton, might have been Princeton, one of them, but they was using the body remains of Move members that were murdered by the government by way of the Philadelphia Police Department and the mayor of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at that time when they dropped the Move. Like, this is what I'm saying to our people. There's a time and there's a place for everything. And for these people to drop a bomb on our people, then in turn, by the way of forensic archaeology or forensic anthropology, that's what they was using it for, forensic anthropology. But you knew that these were the people that were destroyed. But what you did was you basically displayed them in universal museums that y'all call either universities or colleges, right? To cover up the vicious murder that y'all did to Move. And now, guess what? Yah's wrath is coming. Yah's wrath is here. Why? Because of the wickedness that has prevailed within our nation. So what I'm going to do is give an intermission because we need an intermission and then a closing out. So let's get that intermission. And that's go to it.
Acceptance. To cause to accept what is a lie and invalid to be true and valid. He has deceived the whole world. How do you deceive the whole world except the evil lie has been institutionalized? How do you deceive the whole world except that there are governments who sit on the throne of lies? How do you deceive the whole world except that you have some Stanfords and some Yales and some Harvards and some Michigan States? How do you deceive the whole world? But the devil has deceived the whole world. 2021, the mighty Hebrew in the building. The mighty Hebrew in the building. Let's get hallelujah. Nothing can stop Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalism. Rise and destroy worldwide. Israelite sovereign nationalism. Rise, which worldwide. No, yes, king. Stand my turn. I met a more orbit, time travel portal, the mighty Hebrew immortal, Yasha all's morals, Torah order, to do, open doors, raw grew from the Peru to the celestial Jew, old school, Elohim breach, like hemp leaves blow, tree on order, rise up, the stars have fallen, as I bear arms, bomb and remain calm, sign of the time from the righteous, fear no man, sword, plate, tight gold man, moving L, call my first born old man. Toto Moto, kick like Sean Clark Van Dam, primal man, upright, standing one. commandments, reminisce back in the days. Pro chance, who stands praise, wave, hot top fades and finger waves. My blood royal be brave. Lost souls buried deep in Philly graves. Find the Solomon, crystal cave like Asada. The two best got popped from fire. Wallace and Cord took shots. We went from 8-track tapes that pop, recorders that crack, CDs to digital visual. My flow kills serial killing, wickedness on tracks. Vicious, dark eclipse design. For some be the end, ours just beginning. Open the yard mind, spectrum, prism, electric. I see visions from the mind, tapped on the blind. Who I be, man, can't get on me. Not me, be putting like raping. My bird around like I was smoking shirt, but I'm not. Yo, beat like a Glock. Get knocked out, fucking with the real op. Yeah, the mighty Hebrew, 2021. Shout out to Hebrew Israelite soccer nationals all over the world. Welcome to M.I.N.D. Mental is never destroyed. We got a 311 trillion, 40 billion year history to talk about. Shout out to all Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationals, the Kingdom of Yah, the Shot Greer, the International Ambassador, Prime Minister, Prince Yosef, the Crown Prince, Yosef, the producer of this track, Lord Melchizedek, from Tacoma to Phil.
Yeah, back on deck, you know what I'm saying? So I'm loving this. What you say, Robert Long, this is a platform for those of us who are able to balance the esoteric and exoteric. You already know. You already know what's going to go down over here, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm still developing, still filling it out. My Isha hooking up the graphics more and more. So I'm just filling things out. And as I continue on, we going to build. You know what I mean? We going to build colossals. That's what we going to do. So my next podcast, you know, we're going to be talking about move. I'm going to see if I can contact, you know, Michael Africa, some other people to see if they can get involved, because this podcast here is going to be different from everybody else's, right? Like here, we're not just going to talk about problems, okay? We're going to give solutions to the problem. Like we was just reading about COINTELPRO and the long range effects that COINTELPRO has played on us. So the objective now is we have to dismantle by repetitious practice. And you'll find that in Tehillim or Psalms chapter 1. And it talks about how we would meditate or absorb ourselves into our constitution day and when you a certain way, what happens, you develop a habit. And that habit would be being one with y'all. Even when you go into a state of tafillah, the word tafillah, its root word is palah, which means to judge oneself. So before you can even come to the thought one, all ones, then you have to first judge oneself, go into your inner existence, understanding of yourself. That's why when you read in the 45, it says Yah, and there's Ayan is deeper than that. So the esoteric understanding would be from Yahweh, and there is nothing else. See, once you can place your mind in the state that there is nothing else but Yah, you will appreciate everything that is around you. And that's one of the major problems as Hebrew Israelites. We have become so religious, we don't understand the ores around us, the substance by the way of emanation that is at our hands at will to use for the best interests of our people. We are here to be master builders. We're not here to continuously go back and forth. Well, did the Exodus happen? It's Esau the white man. It's this or this academic scholar said that. Listen, we need things that's going to help our people right here, right now. That's what we need. Nobody, we don't want to over there really want to know about no dead pharaohs. You know what I'm saying? We know about all that, but is that feeding the objectives of what we stand for as a people? That's what we have to come into our mind state. A lot of people say, I ain't no sellout. You know, I ain't a counter revolution. I'm sitting back sidelines and you're watching certain things and doing anything. You fall in the category of being a counter revolutionist. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that the so-called white man is the devil, but you integrate it into their system. And there is something that I want to clear up because it was stated that when I was on a show the other day that I said that the so-called white man is equal to us. Well, if I wouldn't have been getting muted and people would have been able to hear me, they would have understood. I said, it don't matter if you white, black, candy stripe. You bleed just like you laugh, you cry. So on them, you matter what color you are. But now if you talk about social behavior, social conditioning, it says in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1, that we will be above all the nations of the earth. Now you're talking about a certain type of behavior, a social behavior. And remember, even other ancient nations believed that they were above all nations and all tribes. That's the same thing. Floyd Mayweather, he'd be like, I'm the best boxer of all time. You know what I'm saying? Or nobody can beat me. So it was more or less, when you read in Deuteronomy 28:1, it's more or less like, for the lack of words, shit talking to the other nations and tribes, like, look, we superior than y'all. But it didn't have nothing to do with how we're conveying superiority today. And a lot of brothers and sisters that don't have the full understanding of certain subject matters, they actually fall victim into a lot of, the rhetoric. But I'm going to leave y'all today with this last song. This last song right here from the My Mental Is Never Destroyed album. First time ever hearing it live here on the Hebrew Height / Visions from the Mind podcast. Let's get it. I pray that Yahweh, the supreme intelligent, powerful one of our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, bless everyone that's watching this near and far for righteousness' sake. I say to the family, Shalom Aleichem. Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalism has risen worldwide.
Back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Yosef, Lan'Diin, be a divine being, see beyond 3D. Illuminati can't stop me, non-ether. Before BCE, we exist from now to infinity, infinity. Back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. Time travel past, fresh go, let's go. Millions we don't play, expand, labyrinth, pin here, box there, Tetris blow, tie sticks, scanners explode, mental bits into blitz, dark eclipse from cyclopeans, shallow hand, rock tickets, fatal, sacrifice Judah, kiss from the navel, sign of the time, COVID-9 can't stop, team shot, universal mind, we dollars, our past we stood in lava, on Easter Island, the Bible more holes, Elohim incarnate, Jacob the powers, desperado, past tense sentences for the future already written. From the profane, it was hidden like a hand unseen, trying to dose the vaccines. Hebrew war machines, arch degree of infinity, divine being who I be. Prince Lan'Diin, the mighty Hebrew, give you the spark. Those that bark without bite, we all rustle your heart. From the slums to honey paw, back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Yosef. Lan'Diin, be a divine being, 3D, Illuminati can't stop me, 9 ether, before BCE, we exist from now to infinity, infinity, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, HP, I was born, watching storms, down Lehman, and marching uniforms, leaving where I'm formed, too close where wars born, dance. In the light grinning, seen with strength, body tense from meditating strength within. Cosmic wounds bent to the wind from will. Blacksmith, endless, I mastered the balance. Yuga to the Buddha, blowing the blast to Medulla. Reaching the oscillating iron source, the endless. Stay focused, toast the host. We from coast to coast, back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Yosef, Lan'Diin, be a divine being, see beyond 3D, Illuminati, 9 ether, 4 BCE, from now to infinity, infinity. Back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. Here we come, Tanzania. Yeah. 2021 and beyond. Mind, mental is never destroyed.